Welcome, dear listeners, to another chilling episode of Wicked Whispers, where the shadows come alive and nightmares whisper their secrets. Tonight, we unravel the terrifying tale of the entity haunting, a case so disturbing and mysterious that it continues to send shivers down the spines of those who dare to explore its depths. Join us as we delve into the harrowing experiences of Doris Bither and the unrelenting supernatural forces that tormented her and her family. Prepare yourselves for a journey into the unknown, where the boundaries between reality and the paranormal blur, leaving only fear and uncertainty in their wake. In the early 1970s, Doris Bither, a single mother of four, moved into a modest home in Culver City, California. She hoped for a fresh start and a peaceful life, but little did she know, her new home harbored dark secrets and malevolent forces that would soon turn her life into a living nightmare. Doris had a troubled past, marked by abusive relationships and personal struggles, which made her an easy target for the entity that would come to torment her. From the moment she stepped into the house, she felt an oppressive presence, an invisible weight pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. It wasn't long before this unseen force began to manifest in terrifying ways. The haunting began with strange noises, footsteps echoing through empty hallways, disembodied whispers in the dead of night, and the constant feeling of being watched. Doris tried to dismiss these occurrences, blaming them on her imagination or the creaks and groans of an old house. But as the days turned into weeks, the activity intensified, and it became impossible to ignore. One night, Doris was jolted awake by the sensation of being forcefully pinned to her bed. She struggled to break free, but an invisible force held her down. Panic set in as she felt unseen hands grabbing her, and a deep, guttural growl resonated through the room. When she finally broke free, she found bruises and scratches on her body, evidence of an attack by something she could not see. Desperate and terrified, Doris reached out for help. Her search led her to Dr. Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor, two renowned parapsychologists who had investigated numerous cases of paranormal activity. Intrigued and concerned by her story, they agreed to visit her home and conduct an investigation. Upon their arrival, Taff and Gaynor were struck by the palpable sense of dread that permeated the house. As they interviewed Doris and her children, they heard first-hand accounts of the violent attacks, disembodied voices, and poltergeist activity that plagued the family. Determined to uncover the truth, they set up their equipment and prepared for a long night of observation. It wasn't long before the entity made its presence known. As Taff and Gaynor monitored their equipment, they witnessed objects moving on their own, unexplained cold spots, and the eerie sound of footsteps echoing through the house. But the most chilling moment came when they attempted to communicate with the entity. Using a combination of electronic voice phenomena, EVP, recordings and cameras, the investigators captured disturbing evidence of the paranormal. In one instance, they recorded a deep, menacing voice responding to their questions, and in another, they captured a series of photographs showing strange, luminous anomalies hovering around Doris. Despite their efforts, the attacks on Doris continued unabated, growing more violent and frequent. Using a combination of electronic voice phenomena, EVP, recordings and cameras, the investigators captured disturbing evidence of the paranormal. In one instance, they recorded a deep, menacing voice responding to their questions, and in another, they captured a series of photographs showing strange, luminous anomalies hovering around Doris. Despite their efforts, the attacks on Doris continued unabated, growing more violent and frequent. As the weeks turned into months, Doris's mental and physical health deteriorated. She became increasingly isolated, cut off from friends and family who doubted her story and believed she was succumbing to mental illness. The parapsychologists, though convinced of the haunting, were unable to provide a solution, leaving Doris to fend for herself against the relentless entity. In a final, desperate attempt to escape the torment, Doris moved to a new home, hoping to leave the entity behind. But the haunting followed her, proving that the malevolent force was not bound to a specific location. It seemed to have attached itself to Doris, feeding off her fear and despair. The case of Doris Bither, also known as the entity haunting, has sparked intense debate among paranormal investigators, psychologists, and skeptics. Some believe that Doris was the victim of a powerful poltergeist, a manifestation of her own psychic energy amplified by the trauma and stress she endured. Others argue that she suffered from a severe mental illness, with the haunting being a product of her disturbed mind. Dr. Taff and Gaynor remained convinced that they had witnessed genuine paranormal phenomena, pointing to the physical evidence and eyewitness accounts as proof. However, the lack of concrete, scientific explanation leaves room for doubt, and the true nature of the haunting remains a mystery. The story of Doris Bither and the entity haunting has left an indelible mark on the world of the paranormal. It has been the subject of numerous books, articles, and even a feature film, The Entity, which dramatizes the events that unfolded in that modest Culver City home. Despite the passage of time, the case continues to fascinate and terrify those who hear it. It serves as a stark reminder of the unseen forces that may lurk in the shadows, waiting to prey on the vulnerable and the unsuspecting. As we conclude this harrowing tale, we are left with more questions than answers. What was the true nature of the entity that tormented Doris Bither? Was it a manifestation of her own mind, or did it originate from a darker, more sinister place? We may never know for sure, but one thing is certain: the story of the entity haunting will continue to haunt the minds of those who dare to delve into the unknown. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey into the supernatural. If you found this episode of Wicked Whispers intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe,